G'day everyone, Spuddy from Spuds Games. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video, we're going to be doing something pretty special. Let's go. So what are we doing today? Well, I've been talking to a gentleman here in Sydney for the last, God knows, probably 6 to 12 months regarding Neo Geo Collection. Now, there's been long gaps in between messages. He's been pretty hard to get a hold of due to personal circumstances. I might send him a message and he might not respond for 4 weeks. Anyway, so this has been going back and forwards for probably over the last 12 months. And it's now finally got to a point where we have negotiated a price and I'm going to pick them up. Now, I'm quite nervous about this pickup because I've never spent this amount of dollars on video games before. I have, but not in one lump sum. So a little bit nervous about this one, and because it's Neo Geo, it is an MVS and an AES collection. You know, there's the risk there of bootlegs as well, so I'm going to be pretty careful about it. Obviously, I haven't committed to anything yet, but if all goes well and everything's 100% genuine and whatnot, then this collection is well and truly worth the dollar value. Plus a lot more. But I suppose the risk is if there's bootlegs in this, then the dollar value is obviously going to decrease. So I'm about 20 minutes away from going to pick it up. We'll have a look and I'll keep you posted. So just quickly a bit of an update. I've gone and picked it up now. I haven't picked it up, sorry, I'm about to pick it up. I've just inspected everything. Everything looks 100% genuine. You just spent an hour and a half testing everything in front of me. This could be awesome. So I've just gone and picked it up, and oh my god, I think everything in this collection is genuine. I'll pull over up here and I'll run you through it, but I could not. I was expecting to see bootlegs left, right, and centre, but everything looks 100% genuine in this collection. It's unbelievable, to tell you the truth. Even the AES stuff. Like, I haven't collected AES before, so I did a lot of googling on the bootlegs. How to identify. And one of the telltale signs is people saying the smell. You can tell an AES cart, you open it up, and oh my god, everything, all these AES carts, as soon as you open them, you just got a whiff of that. It's hard to describe, that chemical, plastic, old man, old house cigarette, 70s smell, I suppose, would be the best way to describe it. It's really distinct and it's really strong. We went through all the games and he was happy to show me. So yeah, I'll pull over and I'll show you guys. It's unbelievable. I'm super stoked with this one. Righto, so I'm now home after picking up. I was picking peripheral. Obviously we got the off the Neo Geo Gold. There is a full one here, but obviously the main thing here, these are the Atomic Wave. All of these are in really, really good condition. Kept them in a protective box. I think there's 28 AES games, Japanese AES games. And then we come over here. We've got about the same in MVS games as well, all with shock boxes. So we look here. I have no doubt these are all genuine. I was a bit wary, obviously. But looking at, or just seeing, going through them, you can see the label here. I've got no doubt that these are all genuine. I had a peek through here. On pretty much all the games, I couldn't see any EPROMs or EPROMs to speak of, so that's a good sign. But let's get all this inside. So you can see there, there's a whole box of MVS games. We've got a bunch of CD games over here. What was in here? I think it's just spare cases. So these are all genuine AES spare boxes as well. Some of them even still have the genuine Neo Geo label on them. So they're spare, genuine things. We've got a heap of arcade stuff over here, Super Gun, jammer boards and whatnot in there. And then if I come around here, open this door up, I've got a Sony Trinitron there. I think this is anti-glare problems coating on this, because it just does not look like burning, to tell you the truth. But we'll have a look at that. I can definitely see there's an issue with the anti-glare coating here. That's a definite.
But then over here we've got all the consoles. We've got Neo Geo CD, AES, Neo Geo X Gold, AES. What else do we? Consoleized MVS there, all working. He tested all this in front of me. It all worked. And there's a heap of other stuff here as well. So let's get it all inside out of the rain, and then we'll go through it.
So here we are, guys. Got it all unpacked finally. Now, from what I can tell, as I went through this again, everything's original, except for some multi-carts up here in the red boxes, which are obvious. They're not going to be original. But I've had a good look at a few of these games, and yeah, especially the MVS stuff. I've had a look, just based online with what they tell me to look at, and they're 100% original from what I can see. AES games, once again, they have that really distinctive smell people talk about. Even standing here, I've opened a few of them in the room. You can actually smell that AES cartridge, or a lot of them together. It has a real weird type of smell. It's kind of an oldie smell, but chemically at the same time, like a new plastic. Anyway, harder to describe. All up, I think there was 30 odd MVS games, 26 AES games, Japanese games. There is one US in there, game in there as well. And I think there was about 23 Neo Geo CD games, Japanese games. We have a consoleized MVS up here. Looks really well made, has S-video component and composite. We've got the original Japanese Neo Geo AES console with the arcade stick here. We've got the more modern Neo Geo X Gold. Now the handheld is just over there. It does come with it. I just forgot to put it in the box, and it does come with a little, is it Samurai Ninjas or whatever it is, the little cart that's included. And then we've got a working Neo Geo CD as well. All these consoles work. When I picked them up, we tested them all together. They all work flawlessly, so that's a good sign. What I'll do is I'll actually grab some MVS cards. We'll look at the more expensive ones. I'll actually open them up and we'll check them out just to make sure they're authentic. And we'll open up some AES ones as well. We'll not open them up. I don't want to risk damaging them, as you can do. But we will take a good look at them. And if you guys think they're fake, let me know. But I'll take some really detailed videos of it, and you guys tell me if you think they're fake. So before we actually get a look at what's genuine and what's not, pretty sure everything's genuine, but I thought I might as well show you what games they're. Now all these games here on this side are MVS games. Now they are cartridge based games only. They didn't come in these boxes. They come in a box that look like this. And that was for arcades, MVS arcades. And then we've got the AES games over this side as well. There's two weird computer games, Dynamite Duke and Last Armageddon, I think it is. This is for the MSX2 and this is for the X6800 or 68,000. Pretty expensive PC games from what I understand. But I'll quickly just show you the games that's in here. Now, unfortunately, they're all in Japanese. Well, when I say they're in Japanese, they're actually plain English, but the Neo Geo guys will recognise which games are what. And then we've got the Neo Geo CD games. So very similar to the AES games. There's lots of different, mainly fighters, these all are. But yeah, and then we've got a really good condition. That's the Neo Geo CD. Got a Thomas Wave there, as well as a couple of games for the Thomas Wave, and then we've got the Neo Geo X. So we've got the original Neo Geo at the top, and then we've got the consoleized MVS over this side. Right, guys, it's now time to take a look at to see if these games are in fact original. So I'll just take my computer headset off. Gonna look at a couple of games. So we've got Panic Bomberman, we've got Cyberlip, and we've also got Voltage Fighter, Grogauser or whatever it is. Now, I've picked these games at randomly. This one is quite an expensive game, but the other two I'm not 100% sure of. Now, obviously, these shock boxes aren't original. And the MVS carts never come with these, but they do make the cartridges look really well when they're stored, and they do provide a good level of protection. So let's take a look at the cartridges and see if they're genuine. So first up, what I do, jump over to MVS scans on the web. I'll put a link below. These guys have all the details about every game. Now what I'll do is I'll also bring it up on my phone and I'll show you guys what it looks like. Apologies, it's a bit barbaric the way I'm doing this, but it's probably the easiest way and quickest way of doing it. Had it on my home screen. So MVS scans. I'll just turn the brightness up so it makes it easier on the camera. So this is it here. You can see all the list of games here for the Neo Geo. Essentially what you do is you click on a game and it will show you in a minute the scans of the front labels as well as the board details. So what I'm going to do is go over to Panic Bomberman and we'll have a look at that particular one. So I'll just bring it up. Panic Bomber. So first thing I do when I'm looking at or trying to determine whether this cart is genuine or whether it's been, you know, bodged up from whatever, or it's in fact a full bootleg, is look at the label. So that label to me looks pretty genuine, and comparing it to the label that's on MVS scans, it looks very, very similar. Let's have a quick look at it a bit closer up. In fact, I reckon this is a Japanese game. I can just see the remnants of a label underneath this one. This label looks really white, which is not actually how an MVS cartridge would normally look. But I can certainly see something underneath this label here. And now this is quite common. So what would happen is this would go to an arcade, it'd be written in Japanese, and someone would stick an English sticker over the top that looked very similar. But the most important thing is not the label, it's the cartridge or the PCB inside. So we're going to open it up by just removing 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, and quickly take them out. Okay. Now we don't want to lift this up all the way, we only sort of want to lift it up enough to be able to lift the PCB out of its little keys and bring it out. So there's 2 PCBs, there's always 2 PCBs with this. It's like a prog and what's the other one called? A char. So I think it's program and character or something like that, I'm not 100% sure, but prog and char. Okay, and now what we want to do is we want to reference these little numbers here on the chips. Now the first thing is there's no EPROM, so they're the ROMs with the little windows in them. That means someone has most likely taken it, written something to it, put it in there, replaced it, and that's not genuine. But these little numbers on here, and I'll just see if I can grab my little zoomer in, and we'll zoom in. So there's a good view of it. I'll just bring it up a little bit more. You see on these cartridges, on these chips here, we've got 073 written there, and that's on all of them, 073, 073. If you jump over to MVS scans, I'll do it on my computer here. What we'll be looking at, Panic Bomber, and I'll show you on the phone what I'm talking about. So this is MVS scans here. So looking at this board, here you can see 1, 2, 3 chips, big chips. When we go over to MVS scans here, you can see it matches up with this board. Now, if I click on that board and give me a bit of a more higher resolution of that board, I can see that these chips also start with 073. So that tells me now that this board is genuine, hasn't been tampered with, and it's all genuine. There's no bootlegging whatsoever in regards to this particular cartridge, which is good news. The only thing I will say is I don't believe that label is the genuine label. I think it's got a Japanese label underneath, and if I peeled it off, I reckon I'd find it, but I'm not going to peel it off because it doesn't really worry me, the label. As long as the internals of it are correct, then that's all that matters to me. So I'll go ahead and put this one back together, and then I'll open up the other cart and we'll have a look at that one. Righto, second cartridge we've got here is Cyberlip in Shockbox. I'll open this one up. have a look. This is a black cartridge, whereas different to the transparent blue we saw. So that's a picture of the label there. I'll just zoom in a little bit here so you can get a good look at it. To me, straight away, that looks genuine. And this is what I was saying before about the other label. It doesn't have that grayness about it in the middle. It was just all white, which kind of led me to believe that that label wasn't actually original. Once again, I will compare it on my computer, which you guys can't see at the moment, but I will show you on my phone what I'm talking about. Okay, so looking at this, and I'll bring it up for you in a second. Cyberlit, there we go. Wait for it to load. So I'll just tip that sideways for the label because it gives a better picture. So you can see there, that's the label from the scan, and it marries up pretty much perfectly to the cartridge label there. So I have no doubt that label's genuine, so that's a good start to determining whether the cartridge inside is genuine. Let's have a look. Phone to the side. I'll just go ahead and undo these screws and then we'll open it up. So right, our screws are out. I'll just open the cartridge up, pull out the boards. Once again, no sign of EPROMs with the little windows. These are all mask ROMs, which is a good sign. That board is actually pristine. It's really shiny. And we're looking at that number, which is 010. You'll see there on the chips. If I just point my thumb just there, it says 010C2. All I'm worried about is the 010. But the fact that it doesn't have any rewritable chips on there is a good sign. I'll just lay that to the side. Now, if I was to bring up the Cyberlit scan for the chips. Okay. What did I say? It was 010 on here. I'll bring this up. This one might be a little bit hard to tell, but you can see there's 010 on the scan as well. So once again, I'm not going to go too much further into this. That tells me that this cartridge here is fully original as well. So last but not least, we'll take a look at this one, which is Voltage Fighter. I'm not sure how you pronounce this, Gaugasia, however you pronounce it. Let's take it out and have a quick look. It's a black cartridge. Once again, this label here I'm looking at, this looks genuine. There's no signs there that it wouldn't be genuine. Has that typical cartridge label look that I'd be expecting. And I'll just bring it up on my computer here, so I've got one view of it before I bring it up on my phone. So it's coming up on my phone, so you can see there. I'll just turn it sideways and do a bit of a comparison. So that's the label there from the scans, and it looks perfectly the same as what that label does, except one small thing. There's a little gold dot here. I don't know what that is. It's not the label itself, but it's just stuck on there, so I'm not sure what that means. Maybe it's a quality check or something. But as for the rest of the label, it looks spot on. Now let me just bring up the boards. What I'll do is I'll pull this apart. I'll take the screws out of it, and then we'll have a look at the boards. Righto, screws are out. I'll just lift it up, take the boards out. You don't lift this up too far because you don't want to damage that label or crease it too much. Now on these boards here, we've got the number 094. I'll just zoom in there if I can. You can see it clearly there on the chip. There's no EPROMs on here. They're all mask ROMs, which is a good sign. And then I'm just looking at my computer, 094. This one has, it's V2V, yeah, okay, right. So it's all the same, matches up, and I'll just show you what I mean on my phone. You can see there, hopefully it comes into light. That's the picture of the chip that's supposed to be on the board, which is a 094. So this cartridge is genuine as well. I'll just put this one back together now, and then I'll go through and test the rest of them, and I'll report back, and then we'll take a look at the AES carts. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at some AES cartridges. I've picked the probably most three expensive ones here. I just quickly had a look at it. So King of Fighters 2002, Robo Army, which is the US version, and also 8-Man. Now these tend to go for quite high dollar values. So I thought, you know what, we're looking at for bootlegs, then we may as well pick the most expensive ones, or some of the most expensive ones that I picked up. So let's take a look at King of Fighters 02. Now, I'm going to look at the front label to start with, and the front label is really crisp. There's no signs of that this was done cheaply or it's faded. It's really sharp image, a really nice picture. The edges are perfectly square. There's no weird cuts or anything like that. Same as for this side. I'll have a quick look. Edges are really straight. You know, there doesn't seem to be any issues there. I will open it up quickly. I'll pull the cartridge out because what I want to do is I want to have a feel for the paper on the back, or as part of it. So it's for me, looking at this, feeling this paper, you know, you can see there it's quite glossy paper. It's certainly not done cheaply. So I have no doubt at least the case and the slip are genuine. I'll just pop that back in. You know, it doesn't have that matte look finish you might find on some bootleg games. Look inside the cartridge case. It's exactly what I'd expect you to find, the SNK there. There's no signs of weird moldings that you get, you know, dots here and there, or, you know, where it's broken away from, where they had to break it away from the molding. So internally it looks exactly like I would expect, and from what I've researched to look for, you know, I've got the SNK made in Japan here as well. So that to me is definitely genuine. We'll have a look at the cartridge now. Oh, sorry, let's have a look at the manual. The manual is very similar to the, I'm just trying to get the light on that. You can see it's made from a nice glossy paper. The lines are nice and square. You know, the printing is nice and sharp. So I no doubt this here is genuine as well. You know, I've seen a lot of manuals in my day. That's definitely a genuine manual. Now let's take a look at the most important one, is the cartridge. Now, one thing, and I thought this was quite odd. I obviously had to do a lot of researching when I was buying this to make sure I wasn't getting bootlegs. And the first thing I noticed when I started opening up these is they stunk, and they have this unique, I don't know how to describe it, but a unique smell to them. It's kind of like, I think I mentioned before, chemical. It's like someone's opened a new roll of vinyl and they're laying it in an old kitchen or something like that. It's a real weird oldish sort of smell. But another thing too, I'm not going to open this up because I don't want to risk damaging it. It's obviously a quite expensive cartridge, but let's take a look at the label. You can see it has that nice gloss to it. The printing is nice and sharp there. There's no, you know, blurry or out of focus or bad printing on that. Same as for the top. All that writing there is really crisp and clear. You can see the reflective label there. And so to me, I'm looking at this going, I couldn't tell. The corners are round. Apparently that's another telltale sign that, you know, if you've got a bootleg, that those little corners there aren't rounded. Now, just because the label sometimes isn't perfectly stuck down square, I've heard that isn't a real issue, because these labels a lot of the time were actually hand put on, not by machine. So that would explain a lot of the times if it's not perfectly square. But that label is definitely genuine. Like, it's a high quality print, nice and glossy, and exactly what I would expect. And it stinks. So I have no doubt that this one is definitely genuine, which is good. I'll just pack that up and get the other one out. So let's take a look at Robo Army. Once again, cover here is really clear. The case actually still has the Neo Geo seal on it. So it's obviously been opened, but on this side here it is still there. So that's a good sign that this case is definitely genuine. Let's open it up. It's got that soft sort of vinyl inside, which I would expect. Once again, stinks. which is a good sign. I'll just pull this cartridge out and then we'll have a look at the paper in the insert inside. Check the paper quality. Now this one has a little bit of fraying around the edges, I've noticed, but nothing major. Once again, well, you can see it's an older sort of paper and it's glossy. You can tell it's just gone a little bit yellow. So, you know, if this is a bootleg which was made, you know, more recently, I wouldn't expect that to have gone a little bit in color. You can see how glossy that is. There's no, you know, the printing is really sharp on that. So I've got no doubt that this this here is definitely genuine. And it's got this made in Japan on this too. So that isn't printed, that's actually stuck on there. So I have no doubt that this is definitely genuine, this slip. What we'll do is we'll take a look at the cartridge now. I'll just put this back in. Put it back in. Well, let's see, before we do that, let's take a look at the manual. Once again, like the other one, very glossy. I'll see if I can get that at the right angle there. Really sharp with the printing letters. You know, it's not sort of, you know, out of focus, or it looks like it's been done by a dodgy printer. The pictures are nice and sharp. You know, they're not blurry. The writing's very sharp. So I have no doubt that this also too, definitely a genuine manual. And now it's probably going to say bleeding obvious here, but I think this is a genuine cartridge as well. Let's take a look at it. It definitely smells. And you can see here, once again, that label, it's got that gloss to it. It's not a matte sort of finish. And you can see the writing is very crisp and sharp on there. It's not 100% square, but as I said before, I'm led to believe that's not a huge deal breaker. The corners are rounded on this as well. They're not square, or it doesn't look like they've been cut off by nail clippers. So I reckon, judging by just what I've seen, I reckon that is 100% 100% genuine as well. So the last one we're going to take a look at is 8-man. Open it up. Once again here, we've got another Neo Geo seal on here, so it tells me that this case is genuine. Like, I'm probably not even going to pull the slip out here. I can see from the front, it's really shiny, glossy, no printing errors. You know, it's a nice looking slip on the front there. We'll take a look at the cartridge and the manual inside. The manual itself is looks like it's been baggied up nice to protect it. You know, someone's obviously gone to a lot of care to do this, so I don't imagine they'd do this for a bootleg. You can see the manual here. You can see the writing down the bottom, really clear. We've got the writing inside here. Once again, really crisp, clean. Doesn't look like it's been done by a dodgy printer at all. The lines are sharp, square. You know, to me, that's definitely a genuine manual. Now we'll have a look at the cartridge. Put that back in there. Cartridge itself, once again, it's the same as the other ones. It's a really nice looking label on the front there. You can see it's nice and shiny. We've got nice rounded corners here. They're not square. They sit nicely in there. You've got the front top there. It does have that little sticker on top, which I'm not sure if you ever read Japanese what that says, but that's a sticker on the label. So yeah, you can see how that nice glossy label there. You know, if that was a counterfeit, I'd expect that to, you know, be a matte sort of finish, not much effort put into it. So alright guys, so that's it for this video. I know I haven't put any gameplay up or anything like that, but it's been a long day. So I will, as I go through these, put some gameplay footage up, and as I find things and test them out, I'll certainly post some things, especially around the MVS console. I think that's pretty cool. And, having the genuine AES console as well is also very cool. And a matter of fact, the Neo Geo CD console. But I will say, when I picked it up, he did test them all in front of me. So I think I mentioned that before, but if I didn't, yeah, he did test them. We tested them together. Had some good fun playing some of the games. So I have no doubt they all work. You can see by the videos on some of these cartridges, they're all in pretty good condition. And I have no doubt in my own mind that they're all genuine. I will have a look as I open these games up further down the track just to make sure that they are. But from what I've seen so far, I have no reason to doubt that these aren't 100% genuine. Even if some of them do have funny labels on the front, which was quite common back in the day, apparently, swapping the Japanese label for an English label and that type of stuff. So, but that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Certainly a bit of a whirlwind day for me. I don't normally spend $8,000 on video games. Let me know feedback. Maybe I overspent. I don't feel like I did. I used price charting before I went there, had a fair idea of the overall value of the collection. But $8,000 Australian, so what's that about? Five and a half US, and even less in pound for this whole collection. But yeah, I used price charting, put in Australian dollars, and when I pumped all the figures in and what it spat out, I kind of went, okay, righto, that's definitely worth it. So I will say too, there is another, it's a CPD G520 Sony Trinitron IBM CRT that he gave me as well. You saw that at the start of the video. I've tested it, definitely comes on and works, but it does have that anti-glare issue. So I might do a separate video on that later on, especially if I have to take the anti-glare coating off, which should be interesting. So, but anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed making it. And until the next one, I'll see you then.